National Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Also on the web at carsforkids.com. That's Cars with a K. We're a recognized 501c3 charity organization, so you'll receive a maximum tax deduction. What's more, you'll receive a free vacation voucher of 3 days and 2 nights.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
As a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan, joining IAVA.org really helps in the transition home. It's a network of OIF and OEF vets like me who've got your back here, just like we did over there. That means when you need help navigating the GI Bill, we've got your back. And when you're dealing with the transition home, we've got your back. Or when you just want someone to share stories with, we've got your back. Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America is there for you. Join our community at IAVA.org. We've got your back.
Brought to you by IAVA and the Ad Council.
I'm a radio guy. Always have been. I grew up with radio and still love it today. I love talk, music, and great personalities. I used to have satellite, and I've tried internet stations. But you know what? Local radio is still my favorite. Then I found HD radio. Now I get all the stations I've always listened to, plus a lot more I never knew were there. The coolest part? I bought an HD radio for just $50, and I pay no monthly subscription fees. So if you like radio, you'll love HD radio.
More stations, no monthly fees. HD radio, a good deal more.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
Do you let other people order for you at a restaurant?
He'll have the saumon lyonnaise.
No, I won't.
Or pick the movie you're gonna see?
She'd like a ticket to Attack on Rage Mountain.
Really?
Yeah, come on. So why would you let others make all the important decisions about how your life is going to be when you get older? I mean, is it okay with you if your kids decide where you're going to live?
My kids? Are you out?
Are you kidding?
Or perfect strangers choose who'll be taking care of you?
Not gonna happen.
No,
Better visit longtermcare.gov, the trusted information site that helps you find your own path forward without selling you anything. It takes you step by step through everything you need to consider about aging and all your options. Longtermcare.gov. Stay in charge by planning now or pay later.
How about a mohawk? How about a mohawk? How about I put my foot right... Oh, hi, honey.
Debt. We can all get in a bit too deep. Members of the NFCC, the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, can help you put debt in its place.
Credit cards took charge of my financial life. An NFCC credit counselor helped me get back in control. I took charge of my debt.
Student loan debt followed me wherever I went. My NFCC financial advocate taught me all I needed to know. I mastered my student loan debt.
We wanted to buy our first home, but weren't sure if we were mortgage ready. Our NFCC housing counselor helped us make a plan. We're on a path to our first home.
NFCC member agencies serve all 50 states and Puerto Rico. Convenient, helpful, knowledgeable, nonprofit. Financial advocates there for you.
We put debt in its place.
Be one of 5 million people to beat debt by 2020. Connect with an NFCC certified credit counselor at your local member agency today. Go to nfcc.org/stopdebt or call 877-410-6322.
WPHT Plaza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Barry, Sable, and Friends on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
You have tuned into the Barry Sable Show with Friends. Grateful for you to having joined us on this Sunday morning. Yes, we are streaming live on YouTube, and you could leave me a message on our website, barrysableshow.com. That's some music, and I will respond. Sitting in studio with me, Republican actionist and activist Steve Pac-Man Packer-Raduni. Call-in numbers 855-839, a simple 1210 will do. Well, Pac-Man, no guest today, pal. I have you all to myself. Put on those 12-ounce gloves, indicative of Rocky's music, and your headgear. Activate this, Pac-Man. No referees here to save you.
Hang tight. Time out. Let me dial 911 real quick, if that's how going to happen.
So all I hear from your Republican buddies and fake news all over the airways is that the Democrats have lost their way. You heard it from our own Senator Dave McCormick on our show last week. This is simply, oh my God, my phone's going off even though I shut down the volume. This is simply political rhetoric and not true. The Democrats are not lost. I'll say it again. They are not lost. They simply lost. They didn't get their way. They are not confused. Americans voted. They simply lost an election. In the movie Papillon with Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman, if you recall, when McQueen escaped from the penal colony with a native girl, Pilar, and they were in a canoe wandering aimlessly in the Everglades, they seemed to be lost. No, not these radical lefties. Stop it. Or Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz. We all remember that movie. She lost her way. She did not know she was going to encounter the Wicked Witch of the West. And along came the Good Witch of the East and the Wizard, and things got back on track. Well, good old Donnie and his wizards are cleaning up the mess that we have now incurred. Dems were voted out, as I say, and that is that. We have thwarted the devious efforts of the last administration to institute socialism and the destruction of America as it exists today. They were controlling the media, attempted to take away our guns, dummied down our education system, misappropriated taxpayer dollars, controlled speech, raised inflation, ruined our energy independence, made us purchase automobiles we could not even afford. Want more? Open up our borders to all kinds of terrorism, criminals, and psychos. Run up our national debt. Demilitarize our military. Let our allies falter, losing faith in the United States. Need I say more? Lost my choochie. They knew exactly what they were doing. Get your heads out of the clouds and pay attention. This was destruction, a socialistic movement. Oh, remember this one, when they were going to replace social workers for the police. This was simple, liberal bull. Oh, caca. Pac-Man, go ahead, throw your best punch. I'm ready for you today, pal.
Barry, I can't disagree with one thing you just said. I actually need a cut man to stitch me up after that right hook. Because I'm thinking we're sitting on top of the world. We're not. They lost an election.
Yep.
They lost a presidential election.
Yep.
But they have not given up 1 inch.
Nope.
They have not thrown in the towel. In fact, they are doubling down. They are training harder.
What do you mean by that, Steve?
They are building their ranks. They are gearing up. They are spending millions and millions of dollars to fight for one supreme court seat in Wisconsin,
Yep.
which is a Dem stronghold.
Yes.
They haven't give up anything. If we lose the House in 2026, they will impeach Trump again. Again. He's done everything he possibly could. He's brought hostages home. He's improved the economy, the jobs report. Everything is great. And they haven't given him 1 ounce of credit.
Not one.
So we did not win. And you are correct. You are correct. And Senator McCormick did say that he thought that they were lost. The Democrats are lost. They're not lost. They are laser focused. They know exactly where they're going. They know exactly how to do it. And we better catch up to them on that path, or we're heading straight down the same way we were with a Biden-Harris agenda is really Obama's agenda.
Well, you know, Steve, these future elections mean so much because you have to retain the House. If you don't retain the House, then the next thing you know, Trump could get impeached.
Right.
I mean, this is really pathetic. Look, listen, I have a lot of friends that are Democrats. At times I talk to them on Facebook. And the things that are important to them and the things that are questioning are really minuscule. This man is trying to even the playing ground with tariffs. What does it matter what the exact percentages are from Canada or Mexico or overseas? 200%, 225%, 100%. Does it matter? He's trying to equate and make everything fair. And in his own way, he's really, as I said last week again, he's a chess player. You have to let him play the game. So if he makes a move, he's waiting for someone else to make a move that he could take knight, queen. Obviously, you want to get the king. I have faith in the guy. We went through 4 years of a total mess. You had your opportunity. Sit back and watch. You could comment, but here's the point. Not one issue. Are you supporting? Not one? It's terrible, Steve.
It is terrible. I want to also say something to our listeners, actually to wake them up. You woke me up. You hit me hard, and you woke me up.
How?
And we need to open eyes. Just imagine if the Dems that we have today in Congress were here during the Great Depression. Would we've gotten through that? World War II. Would Biden or Harris been able to get us out of World War II and save actually the world? Would they have been able to do that?
Negative.
More importantly.
Hold that thought. You had balloons that crossed America, and they let them fly all over the place, military zones and everywhere else, and didn't do anything about it. And you're talking about war, a world war? Of course. Go ahead. Continue, Pac-Man.
Just imagine. I want our listeners to think about this because you make my mind go. It's every Sunday morning, too. It's amazing.
That's why we're here.
Just imagine 9/11 happened during the Biden administration. Just imagine if it happened during the last year of the Biden administration. Even worse, imagine if Harris was president. That's even scary to think about.
Yeah, it really is.
They couldn't handle a hurricane in the Carolinas. Yeah. How would they handle 911? Would they have taken care of the illegals in New York City before the residents of New York City? Yeah. Would they have done that? I can't imagine. Do they care about American citizens even a little bit? Would they have worried about them? How about this? Has that been the plan all along, to make us vulnerable? How could we get to the point that we were? And you're correct when you said, if it wasn't for Donald Trump, it would have been a disaster.
Oh, my God.
Complete disaster.
I think the way that they approached this was the following. They're going to let in 20 million or 25 million people. If you remember, coming over the border, they had Biden T-shirts.
Right.
Where do you get that?
Right.
I mean, come on. So they're supporting all of this endeavor. And frankly, they were interested in giving free education. Where's that money going to come from? Free housing, free this, free that, to as many people as they could that would say, we love the Democrats. But in the total system, it was a failure. And I have to tell you, and I've said it before to you as well, say in Costa Rica, you don't work, you don't eat. We had to go back to traditional thoughts across the board, from education to housing to business. We have to go back to God, country, and religion and education. And if we don't do that now, and I keep saying this to you, the fabric of America is changing. And what do I mean by that? Culturally, we can't withstand all of these denominations coming into this country and are not pledging the allegiance to the flag and patronizing the United States of America.
That's true. It's true. I'm gonna put out some names of some politicians here: Biden, Obama, Harris, AOC, Crockett, the Squad members, Sanders, Schumer, Cory Booker, who just spent 24 hours railing against Trump. As we live in New Jersey, the most taxed state in the country, would they been able to defeat Hitler and saved us the world from socialism?
Yeah, right.
So that's you have to get people thinking. And what I want to do, and I hate to say this, I want to scare people because I'm scared. I want to scare people. Listen, a lot of us voted for Trump.
I like that thought.
Yeah,
I like that, Pac-Man. Go ahead, but give it your best shot.
We can't let up. Fight, fight, fight. Push back against the rhetoric, the nonsense. They want to make a big deal about a text message that was released 2 minutes before a successful military operation that killed a leading terrorist. But all they're worrying about is that something leaked. The mission was perfect. No Americans, military members were affected by it, and the mission was carried out precisely. They also want to make a big deal about the tariffs of the stock market going down. They don't talk about the stock market going up ever since Trump was in office and continued to go up. There's going to be some short-term pain, and he told us, Donald Trump told us, he said, short-term pain, long-term goals. I want manufacturing back in this country. We need made in America. It creates jobs from the smallest one of sweeping up the floor of that manufacturing plant to the managers who run that plant. Engineers, CPAs, mechanical engineers, you name it.
You're talking
they're
jobs,
there.
buddy.
Jobs.
That's what you're talking about.
Good paying. And most of the time, what happens in manufacturing plants? They all become union workers. Look what these politicians who I just mentioned did to our U.S. Union workers in the automobile business. They let our manufacturing plants go overseas, and Detroit is a disaster. Millions of people out of work. They ruined the complete industry. Donald Trump saw this. He's had enough. Yes, we are going to charge you more money unless you make your vehicle here. Make your stuff here.
Yep. And I have to tell you something. I hate to say Comcast because we all have it. When you go to make a call, you're always routed to somebody in some foreign land, whether it be the Philippines or somewhere like that, India, and you can't even understand what the heck they're talking about. I mean, the guy that owned you had Pat's and across the street. Geno's, of course. Before he died, if you don't come to my window and speak in English, I'm not serving you.
Right.
Isn't it about time that America became that way? I don't want to hear, when you make a call, do you want to hear this in Spanish or in English? And for God's sakes, Spanish is before English.
Right.
This is what our country has become. The other day, I got my car washed, and there was a nice young man afterwards detailing the car, and I said to him in Spanish, I speak a little, how long you been here? 6 años, 6 years. I said to him, you don't speak any English? He said no. Wow. So this man has been living here. He's not assimilated. That's why the law on the books was around 750,000 people assimilated into America. When you have all of these people, they're living in pockets, and they are not becoming Americans. The idea is to make money, and not all cases, but in most, to send it back overseas to support their families in all these distant Latin countries. Or whatever. It could be any other denomination. This is not cool, my friend. Not cool, Steve. Listen, Kurt, let's take a quick break. You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, and I am in studio with my man, Pac-Man. Get that stitched right away, young man, and put a bandage on it. We'll see you on the other side.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Listen, I know sometimes you worry about coming to see me because you don't want to invest in real estate, because you don't want to deal with toilets, trash, or tenants. I'm going to teach you a way that you don't have to deal with toilets, trash, or tenants, or even own any real estate and invest in real estate at the same time. You want to learn this, so go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com and take a complimentary class this Thursday, and I promise you, no toilets, no trash, no tenants.
Hey, navigation? Take me to Kia of CherryHill.com.
Kia of CherryHill.com is offering super low lease payments on Telluride, Carnival, Sportage, Sorrento, and the all-new K4. Kia of Cherry Hill is home to over 300 new Kias available for immediate delivery. Kia of Cherry Hill has a huge selection of certified pre-owned vehicles with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Available 24/7 at KiaofCherryHill.com.
Support the Bishop Eustace Cross Country and Track and Field team. Come to Joe Conklin's Comedy Show with Chris Morris and True TV's Brendan Donegan on Friday, April 11th at the Bishop Eustace Fieldhouse. Doors open at 6 for a preview of awesome auction items.
Just great stuff.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
I loved it.
He was very funny.
It was terrific. We had a ball.
That's Joe Conklin, Chris Morris, and Brendan Donegan. For info and tickets, go to eustace.org. That's EUSTACE.org.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Or the joy of early bedtimes? And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Free speech lives here with Rich Zioli weekday afternoons 3 till 7 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Ha! Yes, indeedy. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Love being in studio with my guy, Steve Paccaraduni, known as Pac-Man. So, Steve, I want to compound what my monologue actually said. And this was sent to me the other day, so I want to just mention some of the issues. It reads, I still see posts from friends who are livid over what Trump is doing. I need you to consider the following. When millions of illegals were ushered in through the southern border, you said nothing. When they abandoned millions of dollars worth of military equipment in Afghanistan, you said nothing. When they covered up the Hunter Biden laptop, again, you said nothing. When inflation crushed the middle class, you said nothing. When chemicals polluted the water of East Palestine, Ohio, and they ignored it, Americans, you said nothing. Steve, I could go on and on. There's 50 of these things. So here's my question and my statement and my thoughts. You said the corruption, the lies, the bad policy, the anti-American agenda, and you said nothing. You witnessed it. You participated. You have to, according to this young man that wrote me, please spare us your crocodile tears and all your fake hysteria. Now, for 4 years, you watched this country get run into the ground on all fronts, and you said nothing. Now it's our turn. Go ahead, Pac-Man.
Well, we got to continue to fight fight, fight.
Yep.
There's one thing in this article, too, that really bothers me, and they let men play in women's sports, and they said nothing. The elected Democrats, a lot of other people that were scared of being, canceled or whatever, they said nothing. Well, it's time for us to stand up, Barry. We just because Donald Trump is in the White House doesn't mean that we stop fighting. It's time we spoke up. We're doing it. Others need to get involved. Actually, we need to get louder because that's what they do. Men in women's sports should not be that way. Sent you an article earlier in the week about the fencing competition where the woman took a knee.
Yep.
She had to forfeit the match because she was up against a 6'4", I don't know what this guy weighed, man.
Yep.
He claimed he was a woman.
We saw this in the Olympics, didn't we, Pac-Man?
It happened in the Olympics, too, with the fighters.
That's right.
But this man is not transitioning. He just identifies as a woman, and he's playing in women's sports. Where was the outrage for that? Where was the outrage? Where was the outrage for that on the left just when the Me Too movement?
Yep.
Also, too, when they said, Trump said...
Where is the Me Too movement, Pac-Man? Where is it? Does it exist anymore?
Well, now it's the burn the Tesla dealer movement. It's the same people over and over again. They lost their minds about something vulgar that the president said when he was a private citizen over 20 years ago, talking to another guy, a locker room talk. They lost their minds. Yep. He was the worst pig in the entire world. As we allow men to crush women in their own sports. Crazy. It's ridiculous.
Let me read this. It's wild to see people who robbed us blind trying to justify being upset at us for catching them. How do you like that?
Wow.
Now, you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar for things that you did and you attack. Well, I guess that's what you do when you did something wrong. Look, I'll be honest with you. I think we need to hold people accountable. I know it's threatening. I know it's not easy. There's a lot of people that went astray, and we see it, that they lined their pockets with money. And I know the mission is to correct things, but I have to tell you something, Steve. I think you really have to look into holding people accountable. Pam Bondi is a terrific example of what they're doing to Tesla and his assets and his showrooms and people that just drive those cars that 6 months ago, he was a hero. I think we need to hold people accountable, Steve, in every which way. It's going to be painful, and there's going to be a pushback, and that's all you want to do is retaliate. That's just the way it goes. You did wrong. Suffer the consequences. You got to pay, Steve.
Right. They do have to hold people accountable for all the bad things that's happened, but also for us, we also have to think like they do and beat them at their own game.
Yep.
If the left is willing to pay $10 a gallon of gasoline and shell out $90,000 for an electric car just because they think saving the planet from something that can possibly happen 100 years from now, then we should all be okay with losing a couple of bucks in the stock market right now.
Of course.
It's no big deal. It's going to come back.
It's going to rebound.
We need to support the president's plans. We need to do this. Look at the sacrifices he has made and his family has made. Personally, he's lost billions.
Yep.
His family is under attack. He's had 2 assassination attempts that we know about and a nonstop negative press.
Yep.
It's time we stepped up and went there. I would even tell people to go out and buy a Tesla.
Of course.
Even if you're a
Great
rich
cars.
person,
cars.
Go buy one. It's made in America, 100% made in America. So, go ahead,
Steve.
sir.
Let me interrupt. Let's take a call. Ushi Kessler is on the phone. A friend of mine, someone special, someone dear to me. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. I'm just fine. I'm so excited about our gala in Melbourne at the Desmond on Saturday.
What kind of gala, Miss Ushi?
What it is to celebrate Dr. Sinicki's research and the successes in saving lives with his non-toxic.
Why is he so special, Ushi? Tell us.
Well, he's so special because, first of all, he was my doctor, and I was so impressed with his research because he always wanted to make sure that we patients with cancer, with breast cancer, don't have to have all this chemotherapy and, kind of just dying away slowly Wow. Whereas he developed, and it's actually God's work, he developed immunotherapy that is targeted exactly to the cancer, and it uses your own cells. There is nothing artificial attached to it. It's unbelievable. He has helped hundreds of people, and now through the President Trump's right to try, he could actually help people stage 4, and he could prove that this really works. So anyway, now we are at the point that we need the funding that this will go mainstream, because so far, we need now a comparison trial between regular treatment and care, and this, so that insurance will cover it. But you will, I know you're going to be there on Saturday.
Yes.
And I hope people look up penniesinaction.org and get more information on this, because this is game-changing. And you know that anybody that's involved in cancer, it affects at least 5 people.
Yep.
Because I was diagnosed twice, and I know what it's like to be a cancer patient. And through Dr. Zanicki's work, we cancer patients don't survive, we strive.
Yep.
I'm now 20 years, and my dear friend who came to him, who had both treatments, and she was supposed to recur within 5 years. She's 15 years out now. I mean, it is amazing, and you will hear Dr. Zanicki speak, and you will be
Tell
amazed.
us one more time, where is it taking place, and how can we get tickets?
It's at the Desmond Hotel in Melbourne. It's a beautiful place. And
I've been there last year. I know.
And it's penniesinaction.org. It gives you a lot of information, and you can purchase tickets online. There are a few left, so please don't hesitate.
Yep.
Because it'll be gone. And
Ushi,
this is such a chance.
we need to get this message to the White House. You have explained to me countless hours, and we're working on that. This is something that's special, saving lives of people that have cancer, especially women with breast cancer. It's so important. Thank you for taking the time to call the Barry Sable Show with friends. We support you. We support your endeavors, and we hope that we could get this message to the White House. Have a great day. Rich, you're live on the air with Uncle Barry and Steve Pac-Man. Thank you for waiting, my friend.
Barry.
Good morning.
Thanks for taking my call. Tell me this website again.
Pennies in Action. I don't know it particularly offhand, but I think you could go online. I have to tell you something, Rich. I spent a lot of time with this lady, Steve DiOrio, who is my friend from Cruisin' 92.1, past Assemblywoman Beth Sawyer, Dan Quelliar, and a host of celebrities always show up. But this guy Zanicki is something special. He has the cure where women do not have to get breast surgery because of this cancer situation. It's phenomenal. He needs to get to the right people. I know it's probably against Big Pharma, and it's not easy, but you know something, Rich? The efforts are there. Talk to me. What is the outrage of the shooting in Tennessee? Is that what you're asking? Tell us.
Yeah, I'm. I listen to other shows, and we've been trying to get to the bottom of the manifesto.
Yes.
But the shooting of this. I don't know if it was a man transitioning to a woman or a woman in. I'm not even sure. But when they shot up the little Christian school with little children.
Yep.
We have to get to the bottom of this craziness, and I am just calling in. I just heard it. I just turned on the radio.
Rich, let me ask you a question. Where is law and order in this country? It seems like it's disappeared. When you could throw water, cans, or whatever else situations to an officer and get away with that, and they stand down. Do you remember growing up? If you did that to a cop, you got punched, you got hit with a billy jack, and you ended up in jail. Where are those old days, my friend?
Listen, as a matter of fact, we told the chief of police just the other day, we ought to bring back billy clubs. He agreed, but it's not politically correct enough for the folks that want to act up constantly.
Yep. Listen, I appreciate the call. Barry Sable and Friends is here for you anytime you want to call in. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for the call, my friend. Pac-Man, your response, law and order, where is it? Please, where is it?
It's gone. There's no more consequences for things. We talked about this this morning about speeding.
Yes.
people are passing you at 90 miles an hour. We have to get back to law and order. And what that does is just make us a safer country. There's no consequences. There's no consequences for anything that we do wrong anymore.
Steve, we're up against the break, but what I do is I want to talk to you about these judges with this deportation of these criminals. This is really crazy. You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with Friends, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Mr. Kirk, take us out. We will see you on the other side.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Barry Sable and Friends with Steve Pac-Man. Pac-Man, opinions don't change facts, but facts should change opinions if you're rational. Are there judges out there today, Pac-Man, that are not rational?
They are not rational. They're just pushing a liberal agenda, or they're also just so against President Trump that they're literally ruling. They're actually governing from the bench out of their jurisdiction and stopping him from deportations of criminals.
Why?
For whatever.
Not even elected, Pac-Man.
I know. They want to do this, first off, to make Trump look bad. It's always about making Trump look bad. So the guy deports about 40,000 hardened criminals. They find one guy that may or may not be a criminal. They haven't been able to provide the proper paperwork for this guy to say that he was in the country legally, and that's all they're focused on. The judge went as far to say as the ones that he ruled, and they were, already on the airplane and halfway there, he wants President Trump to bring them back. So we're going to take them out of the prison and bring them back
to
into
another
this country.
Prison.
Right? No, to our country.
Yeah, but to another prison in our country. Exactly. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. If you have a deportation order, or you are on some type of criminal watch list, an FBI list, an ICE list, or whatever, you don't belong here. Yeah. And you don't have the rights that we have. If you came to this country legally and you overstayed a visa, there's a process for that. If you entered this country illegally, you have no rights whatsoever.
Here's my question. This goes back a long time. So you have people that could be here 15, 20 years, raise families, do not have a criminal background here in this country, but came here illegally. My personal thoughts, and I've said it over and over and over, you have 60 days to report. If you report and you meet up to the right standards, then some decision will be made whether you're staying or you're not. Hopefully those people deserve, or they're here, even though they broke the law to get here, they've proven themselves. I surely don't have a problem, and I don't think most people do. But other people that don't report, something goes wrong, we catch you, you're out. There's nothing to talk about. I don't care if you have 100 kids here and 100 successful businesses. You came here illegally. Pac-Man.
I mean, it's just common sense, right? It's just common sense. And I understand what they do, though, to the left and the media will pick out, the kid that came over was brought over illegally with his parents when he was 2 years old. And he's gone through our schools, and now he has a job. He's bought a home. He has a family. Okay, so let's talk about that person. Let's get that person, you said, identified. You have to check in.
Yes.
And then let's find some way to give you permanent residence. Not citizenship. You should not be voting in our elections, not our local elections and whatever. I understand that they'll say, well, they're paying taxes, but they were still brought here illegally. How we stop this? We can fix this in one generation, and President Trump has already shut down the border. The illegal boarding crossings are down 94%. So now we can let 750,000 people in legally, which our country allows. We don't have to deal with all the illegals coming in, and then sort out the ones that are here.
Man, let me bounce this off of you. Now discovered that the Biden administration paid Politico $26 million, paid them to report what they wanted to report before the election. That's terrible, my friend. That is absolutely. What do you need me to do, Kurt, over there? He's signaling. He's giving me, it's like a third base coach. Microphone up, microphone down, microphone in, microphone out. I hate this microphone. Take this microphone away. Go ahead, Steve.
So funny.
That's funny.
So I could see some reflections.
He's
in the
over
back.
there giving me signals like a third base coach. Go home. Go
It's like
ahead.
Larry Boa back there giving the sound. I never knew what he was doing. I think he was
That's
ordering a Tony Luke sandwich, actually, what I thought he was doing.
Are we ever going to get justice? Are we ever going to go back to right as opposed to wrong? Why does there always have to be a gray area? So to me, when they found out this with Politico, that's so annoying to me. But there's so many things that Doge and everybody else is finding out. Everything seemed to be just not right.
No,
Sorry.
First and foremost, think about that. So that's your taxpayer dollars going to the media to report 99% negative against President Trump or Trump as the candidate. So you're literally paying the Democrats so they can campaign. It's insane. And people, instead of being outraged about this, they're out there, they're attacking Tesla dealers, which makes no sense. A couple different things I want to talk about that, if I may, Barry.
Go ahead. Time is yours.
So the Dems are outplaying us on this. They're outplaying us on all these protests. We are spending our time actually doing a counter protest against these protesters. We're bringing more media attention to them. And basically, it's a game that they play. They are paid protesters. So they're taking our volunteers away from actually going and talking to voters to get Republicans elected and support President Trump.
It's a game plan, pal.
It's a game plan.
Nobody's lost.
Yeah.
It's a game
It's
plan.
a game plan. But we're losing on that. We're foolish for going out there, making stupid videos, and actually giving them counter-protesting their protests. It's dumb.
But, Steve, it's the fake media.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. All this stuff is arranged. Look, they all have T-shirts. They all have signs. They all had tents, okay? Everything that has taken place in the past has been orchestrated behind the scenes. There's money there. There's a lot of people that are making money to orchestrate and pay people to show up to these protests. How could you possibly protest so many of these things that are going on in America today? What they're doing to Musk is really a disgrace. I'm embarrassed as an American when outside countries look at what's happening in the United States and they look to Big Brother and they say, wow, they can't even handle their own affairs. How could they possibly be of any help to us if we ever had somebody choking us? My God.
Yeah, it is, and it does make us look foolish. And unfortunately, we're playing into their game. Ignore them. They're irrelevant. Just ignore them. Go out there and get the votes and take these seats. We can't win elections with 40 to 60% of Republicans stay at home. We can't do that. I've proven that we can win. I've proven that we can win in my town and in my county. We've taken their seats. I always say that. I went to one protest in my life. I went up to Trenton. It was like something against the masks or something like that. And we're screaming at a bunch of bricks. And I said, that's dumb. Those people inside that building are laughing at us because they're the ones that make the laws. I said, we need to make the laws. We're going to take their seats. And what did I do? I went out and I win Republican seats. we need to continue for Republicans to get out there and take the power away from them. And how you do that is exactly what President Trump did.
Well,
he won the presidency.
He's only in office for the last 3 months. Look, eggs went crazy. We understand with the chicken flu and all that kind of stuff, but eggs went crazy, and they now seem to be coming down. Energy cost at the gas pump seems to be coming down. We have less people crossing the border. That means we're spending less money to take care of these people. Eventually, I think there'll be a ton of deportation. I always say it, the American people are the losers. Our tax dollars go to everybody but us. When is there going to come a time? I was down the shore this weekend and I'm riding the streets in Atlantic City, and they're all beat up, man. They're all potholed up. Pennsylvania, Philly is the same thing. We deserve better than this, man. We deserve to make money, and if we're going to pay the government, spend the money on us, for God's sakes, not on the whole world and anybody but us.
Right. Well, $45 million for inclusion studies in some foreign country or something. Could have fixed a lot of roads down there in Atlantic City and Ocean City. It's just, we have to get back to understand that this is our money going out the door, and we can't do this anymore. And how you do that is get the power, get the seats, and then hold these people responsible. I'm going to say something here, too. I'm not going to only talk about the Democrats. I'm going to talk about Mitch McConnell, Collins, Rand Paul, and Murkowski from Alaska. I have the stats here. They're against President Trump and his tariffs and some of the Trump agenda.
That's called a rhino, pal.
Right.
But go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In Alaska, President Trump won by almost 1 million votes in that state alone, by 1 million. So Murkowski is not representing her people correctly. They need to hold her feet to the fire. Call her every single day and say, pass President Trump's agenda. I'm going to talk about Kentucky here. Kentucky, Trump won by 60 points in that state, and McConnell and Rand Paul are both from Kentucky, and they're saying, no, we're going to not vote yes on on the President Trump's agenda. It's
Good
insane.
job. Continue. Go ahead.
How about Susan Collins from Maine? So it's a small state, but Trump still won by almost 100,000 votes. So the will of the people, we send those representatives to D.C. to represent us. The will of the people is we voted for President Trump's agenda. These senators need to be held accountable. Unfortunately, they're there for 6 years, and it's hard to get them out once they're in there. But what we need to do as Republicans, even if that's not your senator, any one of these that I said here, call their offices and say, I voted for President Trump's agenda. Stay with it. This is what we need for the American people. McConnell just has an axe to grind because Trump insulted him.
Of course.
And the other two, the women hate him. And Rand Paul is this odd one. I've met him personally, very intelligent guy.
He's a wishy-washy guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very, very strange on his thinking. But
he did a lot of good things for COVID, though.
Yeah, he did. He did. He was against Dr. Fauci. He did a lot of great things. But they have to understand that fighting against Trump's agenda is not what we voted for, not what this country needs.
I'm on Pac-Man's page. Kurt, let's take an early break. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends, sitting in studio with me, my hitman today, Steve Pac-Man. Stay with us. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Big news, Cherry Hill. The Hester Chevrolet family's expanding with our new location, Hester Chevrolet of Cherry Hill, formerly Mall Chevrolet. For over 40 years, the Hester Automotive family has been part of the Cherry Hill community with over 600 new vehicles to choose from. Hester Chevy of Cherry Hill offers one of the largest inventories in the tri-state. Explore how we can make your driving experience extraordinary. Visit Hester Chevy at the mall or online at HesterChevyCH.com. Together, let's ride.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Bucks County officials are mourning the death of a beloved county employee who was killed with his 2 sons on Amtrak train tracks. Spark Therapeutics, a pioneer in gene therapy, is cutting more than half its workforce from its University City headquarters, and voting is underway to select a permanent location for the Philadelphia portal.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Or the joy of early bedtimes? And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Yo, Collegeville. Follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Indeedy, we are back. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Sitting in studio with me, as I always say, Pac-Man. Pac-Man, rudeness. See how you handle this one. Rudeness is the weak man's imitation of strength. What do we have to do to get people that seem to think that what was happening on the left was okay? What do we have to do to start to convince them so we as a nation could become more unified? Tell me, Steve.
First and foremost, you're right with the rudeness because you know that the media is so rude to the president, even to his face. There's no respect of the office that he holds or anything like that.
Yep.
What we have to do is calm down. I was screaming a lot today because I'm fired up. You hit me so hard that you fired me up.
If that's screaming, you should wait to hear from me.
Right.
Go ahead. But I'm glad to see that. Listen, we're interested in the welfare of this country. Let me make it clear. To me, this is not about left, right, and different. I always say it. It's about what's doing best for America. The problem that I have is that both sides of the aisle just can't agree. How can you agree on certain issues? Just as simple as boys walking in girls' bathrooms. It's simple. Build another bathroom for weirdos, whatever you want to call them. I don't care. I mean, you want to be conservative, call them nice people that are a little mixed up. Cat litter, this. I don't care what you call them. Do it. I'm sick and tired of finding an excuse not to do something. I want to find an excuse to do something, Pac-Man.
So, as you always make me think, what's happening is, and I forgot about this, they want to conquer and divide.
Yes.
If they divide us, we're easy to take down. So our friends on the left that maybe can meet us in the middle a little bit and say, okay, All right. Success. We need to be prosperous. We need to be a safe country. We need to obey our laws. Immigration. I was talking to a lifelong Democrat. He was elected at one time also. And he did say, I appreciate what the president has done with the border. So that we had a common ground right there. He said,
you, Steve, but they don't say it publicly.
So
this isn't happening publicly. They're not coming on the airways and saying, you know something, this man is trying to do better, and we have to at least give him a chance. I don't hear it at all. You don't hear it from all of the loudspeakers on the left, Steve. Not one single person has demonstrated and said, I like some of the things that this man is doing. That's defeatist to me.
So what we have to do as regular, everyday citizens, and I always say that, I'll go back again, fight, 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 start talking to everyone, tone down the rhetoric, treat people like human beings, and let's have adult conversations with everyone and talk about the success. We can talk about things that they don't like. If I can, I'd like to read something that Charlie Kirk just put out this week, Uncle Barry, if it's okay with you.
Of course.
We did a lot in Wisconsin, but we fell short. We must realize and appreciate that all of the low propensity party now, the party has remained intact. Special elections and off-cycle elections will continue to be a problem without a change of strategy from the Republican Party. We are the party of welders, waiters, plumbers. We are the party of people who work with their hands, who shower before and after work. Politics is an afterthought to many of our supporters. They have common sense and American values, but they are the voters who must be chased. In other words, what he's saying is that we are the people, the core of this country. And unfortunately, we take them for granted, too. The Republicans, they support President Trump by the droves, but they're not coming out for these other elections. We have to do this.
You can't give up just because you won the big one.
We can't. Our ideals are better. They're actually popular, but we need to match like for like. We need to out-organize the Democrats.
Yep.
We need to match their fundraising advantages. So I'm going to say this, and you called me a
good job, incidentally, Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to call in and be a guest of the Barry Sable Show with friends, you're welcome, Charlie. Go ahead,
So what I want to say is, even though I am a political actionist, I'm not an activist, I'm an actionist. I make things happy. I'm not doing enough. And I need to do more.
Like what?
I need to be more involved. I need to be talking to more people. I need to get people that are not registered to vote, and I need to tell them the good things that the Republicans and President Trump is doing. And that's what I'm going to put it out there. We could talk about all kinds of crazy things, but when you show someone where you have that common ground where a lifelong Democrat admitted, he said, yes, I agree, securing the border was a big thing. He's doing a good job with that.
What would it take? 74 million people voted to the left and for Kamala Harris. What do you think it's going to actually take to get people to vote? Call it the Republican way. I know you're very involved with Jack Ciattarelli. Tell us a little bit about his campaign. I'm curious to see, what is he doing to try and convince a blue state to turn red? Tell me.
So Jack in 2021 went straight to the voters with his policies and what he said he was going to do different than Governor Murphy. And he has a common sense approach to things. And he got a lot of people to vote for him. He came up a little short, just under 3% short.
And we don't even know if that election was adequate and it was true either. I want you to know. I think there's some hanky-panky there, too.
There's always going to be hanky-panky in elections. But President Trump said, make it too big to rig. Well, unfortunately, 60% of the registered voters in New Jersey stayed home in that election.
60%?
60% of not just Republicans, of all voters stayed home in New Jersey.
Why?
Because they feel that it doesn't make a difference. Their vote doesn't count. Their voice doesn't count. And we proved them wrong. And that's what President Trump kept saying over and over and over again in 2024. Make it too big to rig. There's always going to be problems and everything. But what we need to do is just imagine if 80% of the registered Republicans in New Jersey turned out in 2021. Jack would have won in a landslide. Jack Ciattarelli has a common sense approach to repairing New Jersey. He's a CPA with an MBA. He loves New Jersey. He's a successful businessman, successful family man. What he wants to do is just fix the state.
What do you think will convince Democrats? They don't have to change their party, but in some of these elections now, where quotes, as we prove that they're not lost, these Democrats, What do you think is the breaking point to make people on the left recognize that there are a lot of good things that could happen in this country? Just sit pat, just defend, and just stay focused on what's happening. And don't cause a ruckus until you see a result. It's only a few months, Pac-Man. Come on.
We need success. We show them the success under Republican leadership.
Yep.
Also show them safety and security and prosperity. $10 a gallon of gasoline hurts everyone, and that's a Democrat policy. Where in turn, a Republican policy wants to make us energy independent while protecting our environment.
But you know what's funny?
Things.
You know what's funny? You talk about that, and I didn't have enough time with Senator McCormick last week because I wanted to talk about Scranton, Allentown, and different places in Philadelphia, even in Pennsylvania. What is he actually doing as a senator for our state? Because I saw something the other day on the news that there are a lot of cities in this particular state that are ridden with crime and everything else. Listen, you have 20 seconds, Pac-Man. Why don't you wrap me up for the day and tell me, are they lost?
They're not lost. You opened my eyes. They are definitely not lost at all. They just lost one election.
Yep.
They are laser focused on their goal, on their destination. And Republicans and even independents that go our way that supported President Trump, you got to get behind them. I appreciate all the help, Barry.
Of course, success demands 6 things: hard work, sacrifice, struggle, faith, patience, passion. Do you have what it takes? To Steve Packer-Aduni, thanks for joining me this Sunday morning. Kurt, I love the music. Delaware Valley, on your busy Sunday, grateful to you for joining and spending some time with us. You have been listening to The Barry Sable Show with friends. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Have a great week, a healthy week, a safe week. Our Phillies are winning. Support them, and we will see you next weekend. Thanks for always being there. I appreciate you.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy.